Well, my first acrylic flow painting came out as ugly as can be. So I am determined to learn from some of those mistakes. I think the mistakes that I had in the first one, I had some levels, but I didn't use them, so I didn't check to see if anything was flat. I also was using a previously used like canvas panel, and it had a slight warp, so it wasn't flat anyway. The corners were all slightly higher than the center, so the paint was always going to run into the middle. I think maybe I also used too many colours. I had the white, purple, pink and yellow, but I also had this orange, and from the weights of all the paints that I did initially, the orange was the lightest, and I think it really dominated far too much. It might be a coincidence, or it might be because it was the lightest colour, but everything came a bit too kind of, not only was it muddy, but it was kind of orange muddy. So I didn't learn from that. I also wetted the edge of my canvas thinking that was going to help, and in the end I think it didn't, because the paint ran off the edge of the canvas too much, and the edges weren't very well covered in paint. So what I'm going to do this time, I can't afford to waste my canvas panels because they're very, very expensive here and they're rarely in stock. So what I've done is I've pasted some acrylic painting paper onto this old cupboard door. It's kind of heavy, it's like an old melamine cupboard door from an old kitchen or something. So moving it around, I think if I have to flow the paint a lot, is going to be a bit of a challenge, but I want to make sure that I can keep the paper flat. I've also used my levels and I can see that it's good that way, but in this direction, when I set it to dry, I'm going to just need to put a little something under there just to lift the front up, probably because of the weight of the panel off the edge of the table is making it a little bit heavy. So what I have done is I've mixed up some more yellow, pink, purple, and I've taken some white out of my pre-mixed one, and I used the same formula as before. So I had 1 tablespoon of colour, half a tablespoon of Floetrol, and a half a tablespoon of water in each of these. And again, the yellow needed just that little bit extra water. It seems to be a little thicker than the others. So I'm going to take those to one side, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to put it all in a cup and pour it, because I want to compare to what I did last time. But I'm going to use one less colour so that I don't have as much mixing going on, because I could tell before when I put the colours in the cup that as I was doing it and they were mixing, they were creating more colours. And of course in the end it just ended up a right mess, and I didn't like it at all. So I'm going to try with less colours. I'm going to mix it in the cup less. So before I poured in the colours 3 times, and therefore there was lots of mixing and layers, and I'm going to do less of that. No more than twice this time, and that'll be it. And then, oh no, a flip cup is going to be really hard. A flip cup's going to be impossible because I've got it on this huge heavy board. Well, in that case I shall just pour it. So it won't be exactly the same as it was before, but we'll see. Okay, so I've added my squirt of the liquid wrench, the silicone spray. I've added a squirt of that into each and given it a good stir around. So if I just slide my board a little bit off the way for now, and I'll bring in my cup, and let's start mixing up some of these colours. So I've decided that what I'm going to do is move my colours through from white to dark and then lighter again. White, dark, lighter again. So I'm going to start off, give it a little extra stir. Oh, I've got some gunk there. Oh, and a hair, goodness. Where does all this stuff come from? I do have 2 cats, but that didn't look like a cat hair. It's probably one of mine. Okay, so I'm going to pour a little white to start with. Now these cups aren't ideal. They've got a little lip, and the paint sticks on the lip there when I pour them, so it's not the best, but hey. These plastic cups, 12 for $4 US. It's so expensive here that, you know, it's crazy, so I have to try and reuse everything or do things as cheaply as I can. So that's the white. Let's add a little bit of purple. I'm going to add it from on high, and again, look, it's dripping off that lip. Not ideal. There we go. Let's try some pink. Pink seems a little thick actually. It's probably thickened up a little bit since I did it. I might need to add a bit more water. Let's take a look. and the yellow. Oh, the yellow's good. Okay. So I'll add a little bit more water to that pink. Quickly stir it in. Ah, my memory card was full. It's just not my day today. Right, I'm going to go on with the rest of my paint. So I put not very much in before, so I think this time I'm still going to go from on high. Right, I might as well put the whole lot in and see what happens. So rather than have, well, probably not all of this one, that's quite a lot, but rather than have lots of different layers like I did before, which seemed to create more of a messy look. That pink's still a bit thick maybe. I'm going to try doing less layers in the actual cup, so that hopefully I'll get less layers and those funny lines that I didn't like so much on the painting. Okay, so the cup is looking absolutely glorious. Really nice. Now I want to recreate that on my paper. Let's drag it in. I'll just zoom out a little bit. This could be messy because I've got to try and manipulate this board, so I'm going to get all these spillable things hopefully pushed to one side. My water. Okay, so the cup looks good. How shall I do it? I think I should probably start in one corner and kind of go across. Let's see what happens. Oh, it doesn't look like I have anywhere near enough paint now. Oh, I'm gonna have to see what I can do, but it looks nice. I like this purple bit, and look at all those cells popping up. Let's see if I can bring it a bit closer. There we go, it looks good. Now, I've just got to see if I can move it, because I've not got enough paint by a long way. And that was just silly. Let's see what I can do. It's not going to work, is it? Well, it might. This board's kind of heavy and difficult to manipulate. I'll keep at it. I don't want too much to be lost off the edge because I don't have enough paint to start with. We get these little bits where it doesn't flow, kind of sticks. You need to encourage it. Little bits where it goes off, but okay. So I've got that part covered anyway. Let's see what I can do here. Tip it back. Silly error. Always better to have too much paint than not enough. Another little area there, so I can encourage that to flow. Oh, now I'm having some problems. My paper is warping. Even though I've attached it to the board, I can see here it's coming up and here, so that's not going to help. Oh, this is another disaster. I've not got the right materials, clearly. That doesn't help. Oh, there goes the board. Well, I might get something interesting, but who knows. As long as I can flow up to these edges. And now I've just got to come back towards this corner. I didn't realise the paper was going to warp so much. Oh dear. Okay, well, we live and learn. So that's the problem with this one. It doesn't work on paper. It doesn't work on paper. Good in theory, doesn't work on paper. Okay. So anyway, there's my painting. You can't really tell where it is exactly, but I'm going to torch it a little bit and see what happens. I like the way that I've got more purple and white here and more pink and yellow here. But let's give it a blast with the torch. Okay, zoom out, there we go. I think we can more or less say that is disaster number 2. I clearly need a lot more practice, and I need to give up on using this paper too, because that's not going to work. It's all gone wrinkled and wobbly from the, I think the, just the wetness of the paints. And I've got it all over the place. Oh, that's nice. I actually really like that. That's so funny. Okay, so I'm going to cut that, leave it there. I will put a picture at the end of the video to show what it eventually turned out like. I will let it dry and we'll see what happens. So I promised that I would share this masterpiece when it was finished, and there we go. Actually, it doesn't look too bad on the camera. At least it's got a little bit of shine and shimmer to it. It hasn't had any varnish or anything. It's still just slightly wet, but I think we can say that this one hasn't been a success. I'm not doing well with the colours. I'm not sure what the problem is, but I'm just making a great big muddy kind of puddle of colours, and I guess I just have to keep on trying. Anyway, any tips? I'd be very glad to receive them. Thank you very much for watching.